and 6397 866-610-6397 star 610 if you're an AT&T wireless customer. Check us out on Facebook, check us out on Twitter, check us out on the blog, thehomeimprovementhour.com/blog, without the in there. Don't try to type seriously. If you do, you don't deserve to be there.
Use the H.
Yeah, use the I'm Jerry Hester along with Alan Mackin. We're now joined. We have to thank the professor, though.
He was great, wasn't he?
He was incredible. I mean, architecture just fascinates me. It's so detail-oriented and so little, tiny, that it just has always fascinated me, even going back to, drafting classes in middle school or whatever. I was always really good at it.
Yeah.
Except I was left-handed and I always used to smear everything. They won't.
Sounds like a personal problem.
They will not teach left-handed people calligraphy.
They will not.
For that reason, because you smear it as you write.
Well, you can always tell people you actually were great at it.
It's discrimination.
There was so much we could have done. There was so much I left on the table that we really wanted to go over.
We could have talked to him for a month.
Yeah, and now we got these people in here, and it's going to be rough. We got Jody Mackin from Mackin Realty.
And Rosa Hernandez from Gold Rose Realty.
And you know what that means?
And they're on opposite sides of the board, of the console here, of the table, so that we got competing realty companies going on here.
And all they said,
we didn't want anything blood spilled or anything. So
and all they told me is that both of them said to me independently that you're their buyer. So I don't know how that's going to go after the show.
Yeah, I don't either.
So what can I tell you?
I mean, I could write them a check. I got lots of those.
There you go. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to welcome Jody and Rosie into the studio. It's a pleasure to bring them on the show. I brought them in for a couple of reasons. First of all, I want to hear about the general market. At the Home Improvement Hour, you're always talking about, should I put this money in my homes? Now is a good time to improve my home. And I respect both of you. I know you're both out there. You're out there selling kind of a different line set of homes on a regular basis. I think, Jody, it's fair to say you kind of work a higher level as far as price points go on a regular basis. At Mackin Realty, it's what you focus on. And Rosie, you're an absolute expert in HUD. I mean, I asked Rosie to give me some tips on HUD because I don't know anything about HUD. She wrote me a book, Jerry. And she sent me a book. And after she was done with that book, she sent it to me again and said, did I miss this?
You should have sold him a book.
Yeah, she should have sold me a book.
Could have sold him a book.
Yeah, right. So let's hear about it. What's the market look like? Rosie, tell me about HUD Homes. Are they selling? Is it sitting on the market? How's the product going?
Well, HUD Homes are doing very well. We have a lot of people interested, both owner-occupants and investors. We have the owner-occupants having a great opportunity to buy these homes because they're not competing at the moment with investors.
Right.
HUD allows up to 30 days on insurable properties where owner-occupants can make a fair offer.
That's great. I mean, one thing I can say, I know that you're some kind of a big shot with HUD Homes because on a regular basis, Jerry, she's got people in a conference room.
She's an expert on HUD Homes.
But you got people. You're doing some kind of classes. I mean, is there something that you do that there must be some mandate you're working on?
Yeah. Well, what we do is on a monthly basis, we train our agents in the market to understand what HUD Homes are, how to sell HUD Homes effectively. There's a lot to it as far as the qualifications of not only the buyer, but the property itself.
Right.
Well, can we have a HUD 101 lesson?
I got that for you because she did it for me. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
I'm not kidding. See at the red? That's her.
Oh, okay.
What is a HUD home? We'll do it one at a time, Jerry.
Okay.
You're going to take notes for me?
Question number 1.
See, that's why he's that guy. What is a HUD home?
Well, a HUD home is it could be 1 to 4 unit residential property. And they're acquired by the Department of Housing Development. And it becomes a HUD home when a property that was financed through FHA, which is insurable by the government, defaults. That's where HUD kicks in and acquires the property from the lender once the lender makes the foreclosure.
And let me jump to Jody for a second because although, we work with a fair amount of high-priced homes, I know Mackin Realty also does work. We have a lot of foreclosures. We got a foreclosure department. We're working with some of the nation's biggest lenders. So, talk to me for a second. I mean, you're certainly more in touch with it than I am. How are you finding those foreclosures moving? How's that market moving for Mackin Realty?
Well, we find that those homes are moving very rapidly and at pretty good prices.
Right.
They've been very, very short-lived on the market. And they've been, thankfully, helping the market pick up a little bit because as we get rid of those foreclosures, we see prices start to stabilize. And that's been very helpful.
And, and let's talk about qualifications for a second. I'll go to you first. Who can qualify for a HUD home?
Basically, anyone can qualify as long as either they have the cash, of course, or they get pre-approved for a loan. Typically, HUD, they like to see the FHA first-time home buyers come in. There are incentives for FHA buyers where they can put $100 down payment versus the typical 3.5% down.
It's great.
$100 down payment gets you home today. So, Jody, I'm going to throw it your way now because Rosie was nice enough to write these questions for me, and she did it in red. I'm sticking with it. Can people qualify? We're hearing a lot of different things about banks in the market today. Are they making home loans?
Some banks are, some banks are not. I think it's much tougher to qualify for a typical conventional loan these days. And that's what makes HUD and the FHA loans so attractive to home buyers and some investors. And the beauty of Rosie's market is that they can practically buy a home with very, very little money down.
$100. I mean, that's back to the old days.
Yeah.
I mean, you're seeing those deals get done, Rosie?
She's doing those deals.
Mm-hmm, definitely. They are going through. There are some requirements from the buyer to qualify, but they're much lenient than the conventional loans.
Wow. Hey, before we take a break, let's go to the phones. We have Mike in Coral Gables with an interesting question.
Sure, go ahead.
Mike, you're on the air.
Yeah, I've always wanted to ask an architect in this century, when my home is sliding towards a lake, and I was thinking, I've been here 40 years. Where I lived before that, in the 60s, it would never happen, but now, I don't know why. The landfill is not, is there any architectural way when studying the engineering or civil geology where you can actually prop up a foundation that's sliding and the top floor is cracking and the carpenter ants are getting in through those cracks?
Boy, I bet the guys in the Malibu Hills would want to know an answer to a question of that.
Well, let me jump on it for a second. I would guess that you have a concrete slab underneath you that not all homes do. I would guess that your home's sitting on. It's not sitting on piles.
It's a huge problem down here by the Tri-Lakes area, down by the town of the hammock. Down here.
Down in that area, there are some older homes that have wood substructure.
Actually, they're pretty new.
They're new. If they're new,
they have a slab.
There's more lakes than they're actually rock pits. They're not real lakes. It's part of the water. The Everglades
mitigation.
Al Gore's, the multi-trillion-dollar Everglades bailout. They put in water where it's not supposed to be, and the homes are sinking.
Yeah.
And I have multiple investments, and I'm getting panicky.
I don't blame you. I would encourage you, to reach out.
Foundation support, or
no? What I would encourage you to do is reach out to an engineer and get
a
structural engineer.
Yeah.
And I know a few, and we give out our information here on the air, how to reach me, and you're welcome to send me an email. And I'll be happy to send over, give you a couple names, and hopefully they can help you. I mean, it sounds like you have a very serious problem there. It may be an insurable issue. I don't really know, but I would not take that lightly, and I would get ahead of it. But thank you very much for the call.
Okay, thanks. We'll take a break and come back and wrap it up on the Home Improvement Hour with Alan Mackin.
WIOD.
Home Improvement Hour with Alan Mackin. 866-610-6397. 866-610-6397. If you're an AT&T wireless customer, it's easy for you. Simply dial star 610. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. Check out the website, thehomeimprovementhour.com, and the blog there. And we're everywhere.
Yeah, we
are everywhere.
We're everywhere, Joe. There's no place we're not. One thing I wanted to touch on was, all of a sudden I'm starting to notice the construction's picking up again. In Golden Beach, there's a tower that looks like it's going up in the air regalia. Looks like it came out of the ground. There's a lot of talk about George Perez starting to bring projects out of the ground, which is great news. I was on Miami Beach this morning, and I noticed that a project that had been stopped is now underway again. There's a lot, and then there was some news in the Miami Herald that we set a record here where we sold a condo in the Satai for the next $21 million.
That's correct.
And no sale even in New York City has occurred for that price point. And it was a businessman who bought it. It's not a celebrity. It was a big number per square foot. No question the place was spectacular. But you guys are on the front line. Tell me, what are you seeing? Rosie, your HUD homes, how are they selling? Are people coming with low-ball offers? What do your offers look like?
No, low-ball offers are almost over. People are realizing that the market has hit the bottom, and there's a lot of people out there looking to buy, whether it's owner-occupants or investors, and they're making competing offers. We see people making offers above the list price on many.
Jody, what are you seeing? I mean, what are you seeing in your market, and how's it look?
Well, we're seeing things pretty much the same as Rosie. Thankfully, we're finding that sellers are more reasonable with their asking prices, and buyers realize that we have in fact hit a bottom, and in order to secure the property, are willing to pay market value for those properties. And it's on the upswing.
I mean, that's great news. I mean, we're seeing construction. There's no question. The phones are ringing and people.
Cranes are going back out.
Cranes are going back out, but not at alarming levels.
No.
I think the difference we're seeing now is they're starting to trickle in. And that, but again, you guys are on the front line. I'm happy to, Jody. I know, recently Mac and Realty sold a condo for.
Well, we sold a very upscale condo in a beautiful building for $5 million. We sold a couple of homes out in Southwest Ranches, Davie and Weston area, anywhere between $3 and $5 million. So we've had some real nice sales come across our tables.
And Rosie, I mean, you're busy every time I look over there. I mean, you've got these HUD deals working, and it looks like the market's it's singing again for you.
Yeah, it is.
And the banks, how are the banks playing with you?
Well, on the properties that we have that need repairs, I mean, there's a misconception with HUD. Obviously, not every property is a low-income property. There are very nice properties out there that were, they lent money on them through FHA, and FHA has a limit of up to 412, I believe.
Yeah.
So we just got a listing recently for 309,000, and we had about 15 offers on it.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a major misconception about
About
HUD.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there's no question.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great news. I mean, once upon a time, we were all looking for the bottom because there were no offers, and every offer that came in was lower and lower and lower.
And those buyers were so skittish. You really had to fight even to get those low offers.
I had some friends that were realtors back then. You know what we called them?
What?
Waiter. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Waiter.
Yeah. I got to tell you, the guys I knew were asking one question. Would you like to try this cologne?
Yeah.
As we're walking through the store.
You want fries with that?
Yeah. No question, it was tough. I mean, a lot of real estate companies did a lot of consolidating. But I can tell you, and I think Jody and Rosie will agree, there's been a shakeout. The people that are now practicing real estate are the ones that belong practicing real estate.
Right.
It makes our jobs much easier, wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
Rosie?
cleaned out the
Sure
dead
does.
wood.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a time when almost everybody I knew
And their
was
grandmother.
related to someone that was going for their license.
And they were
Right.
taking orders on the telephone. I used to hear them. How many units? At what price? I mean, it was crazy. But now, things have gotten a little bit back to normal, and we're moving properties again. Money's moving.
I know off there we talked about equity in people's homes. Do they have it? Don't they have it? I know that's an individual, independent situation. There are some aggressive programs out there for short sales that people can take advantage of. I would argue that the people that have equity in their homes, now is a good time to put some money into those homes, start to improve them, because you've seen the bottom. I mean, for a long time, there were a lot of people prognosticating about whether the bottom was in. But the issue really is bottoms are market-driven, and every market's local. I can't tell you there's a bottom in Chicago's market, but I can tell you very comfortably that we feel confident, and I think you two agree, that the bottom's in residentially here in South Florida.
Very much so.
And that's great news. I know, Rosie, I wanted to touch on one thing before we go. HUD has some unique financing opportunities, and some of them include home renovations and home repairs. And if you could speak just for a minute about those, that'd be helpful.
Right. Well, with HUD, they have the FHA loans. They've come up with a new product called the Streamlined FHA 203K, which allows a buyer to borrow up to $35,000 for home renovations.
Wow.
They have actually two programs. That Streamline is for general repairs. If they have to go structural or do any alterations, then they would go with a full FHA 203K.
That's great. So, and it's also for the contractors. I know if a lot of them listen to the show, it's a great way for you to get business opportunities because you can become certified
Right.
to do this level of work. You don't necessarily have to be certified. You have to be a licensed contractor, but to be listed on their site, as I understand it, you have to be certified.
Right.
And I wouldn't have known that, Jerry, if Rosie
No,
hadn't put
me
that
neither.
together for me. No,
Yeah.
she gave me the cheat sheet that told me that.
With the red questions.
With the
Right.
otherwise I never.
Color-coded.
It makes me sound like a genius when I do that, right?
Very informative.
Yeah, but obviously
I was concerned that you hadn't read it.
She color-coded it because she knew you weren't.
Right, exactly right. And Jody, I mean, as you see in the markets and the realtors you're dealing with, is it an aggressive market? Are the agents responding in the way you'd hope they would? I'll ask you a great question. Are more agents showing their properties? Are they sending, are they not even going to these showings? I think it's a critical part of everybody that they should show their own listings.
It's very important that you show your own listing because you as the listing agent know all of the nuances that maybe aren't so evident to other people who walk through the property that help move that property. And I think, frankly, that now we're seeing that realtors realize that they need to get over there, show that property if they want to move it, and keep their sellers happy.
You know, I've dealt obviously with Rosie in business. I've worked with her in real estate transactions, and I can tell you that in her space, which is what I've worked with as it relates to these HUD homes and short sales, she definitely knows her business. I would encourage people to contact her. She's easy to get a hold of. Her phone number is 305-949-1411, or you can find her on, and this is like the greatest website name ever, www.goldroserealty.net. So if you want to find her that way, you certainly can. Jody's available at Mac and Realty. I can't speak as highly of Jody because she's my sister, and if I did, it would never work in our relationship. So
Just sign the check because I'm here.
and see what I mean?
Yep.
She comes happily, and we don't pay her for it, Jerry.
No.
And that's why she sits next to you. And not over here.
JODI.
Yeah, that's been my mistake. Did it 43,000 times. So if you
You
want,
spelled your sister's name wrong?
no, my real sister's name I spelled appropriately correctly.
Oh, okay.
But all joking aside, if you've got a home and you need to sell that home, or you're working with a realtor, I would encourage you in every way, shape, or form to contact Jody Mackin. She handles the beaches. She handles Hollywood, West Broward, and she's available at 305-933-3800. I'd like to thank everyone that tuned in on the radio and online. I'd like to thank my guest, Professor Jaime Canaves from Florida International University School.
He was great.
He was great. School of Architecture. Rosa Hernandez from Gold Rose Realty.
She was great.
You thought so, huh?
She's fantastic.
See what I mean?
you.
And Jody, that's Jodi Mackin from.
She was great.
She was great
She was.
Thanks.
from Macon Realty.
She smells better than you, too.
Yes, she does, and she actually speaks better. Remember, our contractor experts are here to answer your questions on the Home Improvement Hour every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. and all week long, day or night, through our blog. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in touch and find out which expert will be on our show next week. The Home Improvement Hour is brought to you by our proud sponsors, VCM Construction and Mackin Realty.
They're great.
Thank you
They are
so
great,
much.
yeah.
Jerry, thank you as always, because
Thank you.
without you, I could never, ever, ever do this.
I'm never going to show you which buttons to push,
And
so
I-
I always keep it that way.
Thank you. I'm sure I'm not the only one that doesn't know which buttons to push. Jennifer from BCR Media,
She's great.
She is.
George Falcone from Beach Ball Consulting, Seth Saperstein.
He was late.
Yeah,
He was late.
He was late. Seth Saperstein, Layla and Ali Masri, and Ryder Seltzer. I'm Alan Mackin, wishing everyone a terrific week, and remember, be safe, consult an expert.
And if you are an expert in the construction industry and like to come on the Home Improvement Hour, we welcome all guests. Please call 786-454-8174. We'll take a short break. Be back next Sunday at 2 with more of the Home Improvement Hour with Alan Mackin.